All right, viewers, just moments from now, India's Finance Minister will be delivering the Union Budget. And of course, we are going to be tracking the latest with our correspondents. Siddhant Sibbal will be joining us live from outside the Parliament in the national capital. He'll be bringing us what the global audiences are expecting from the budget. And of course, we also have Disha Shah, who will be joining us from the Bombay Stock Exchange. She's based in Mumbai. And she will, of course, also be bringing us what the common man is expecting from this budget. We are going to be speaking with them soon. As of now, let's get started with what to expect from the budget. Now, as the country gears up for a pivotal moment in its economic roadmap, all eyes are on New Delhi as Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presents the Union Budget. India, the world's fastest growing major economy, is not just a powerhouse on the rise, but a potential game changer in the global economic landscape. With its vast market potential and ambitious reforms, this budget announcement is poised to send ripples across global financial markets. The stakes are high as India aims not only to sustain its rapid growth trajectory, but to provide a substantial boost to the global economy. Investors worldwide are eagerly anticipating policy shifts that could influence sectors ranging from technology, infrastructure to healthcare and renewable energy. Now, key expectations include reforms in personal income tax to stimulate consumer spending and boost investor confidence. Allocation of funds towards critical sectors like agriculture, healthcare and education is also on the agenda. Now, through the day, of course, our correspondents will be bringing us live updates from Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and other important hubs, capturing reactions from industry captains and everyday citizens alike. Now, from tax reforms to sectoral allocations, every detail counts in this journey towards shaping not just India's economic future, but influencing the global economic landscape. Now, viewers, ahead of the budget, Indian rupee's weakness is in focus. Global currency market moves are driving the rupee's decline from a broad dollar strength. Now, with the US Federal Reserve delaying its rate cut plan to later this year, the dollar has gained against most major currencies globally. Emerging market currencies have taken the biggest hit here, while the Reserve Bank of India has stepped in at various points to stem any significant moves in the rupee. The Indian currency's decline is a broader trend in the currency markets. Still, the situation could have been far worse if India's growth wasn't among the best in the world, as we've seen. Some emerging market currencies have taken a larger beating from the dollar's strength. Expectations are for India to maintain a robust growth rate in the coming years, and the budget will be viewed as an important step in that direction, with the Fed widely expected to cut rates as early as September. If inflation data holds good, global currencies are expected to recover their losses. The Indian rupee is also forecast to gain in the coming months. But for now, the focus remains on India's budget. Global investors will focus on the country's fiscal plans and growth measures. All right, viewers, there is a lot to discuss. There is a lot of hype around what to expect. For now, we are being joined by Mr. C.M. Vasudev, who's a former finance secretary. And of course, it's going to be a pleasure speaking with you, sir. There is a lot to understand, and who better to understand from you, sir. I wanted to understand just from the get-go, what are your expectations and the biggest expectations from this upcoming budget?
Well, you know, this budget, one has to recognize, is being framed in the backdrop of a couple of things.
Yes.
One is the recent elections, where the performance of the government was not as per expectations. So, what lessons the government is going to take from the election outcome, whether it is going to stay the course or it is going to make some changes. And the second backdrop, of course, is the elections which are coming up in a few critical states, which also does impact economics. After all, politics does drive economics. And thirdly, of course, our macroeconomic fundamentals are pretty strong. External account is good, inflation largely under control except for food inflation, financial sector health is good. So in this backdrop, I can only speculate that based on the past record of this government, their focus really has been on infrastructure investment, public investment, capital expenditure, and fiscal prudence.
Yes.
These have been the hallmark of this government in the last few budgets. So I would expect them to stay the course, but with little changes, like to respond to the problems in the economy, like rural distress is a big problem, agri distress is a big problem, and of course lack of jobs. That is the bigger problem.
That's exactly, Mr.
So
Vasudev,
these
where I
are the
wanted to come.
backdrops in which the budget has probably been framed by the finance minister.
Lack of jobs, sir, that's exactly where I wanted to come in. Of course, the economic survey, which was just tabled yesterday, that did highlight it, and they have given a very upfront message to the private sector. And a lot of things that they mentioned, of course, that the employment generation is the real bottom line for the private sector. And do you feel the entire pressure is now on the private sector to bring that one up?
You know, it's fine. I'm sure there'll be a lot of this thing talking about in the budget speech about jobs and all. But ultimately, one has to recognize that jobs is really a function of the growth. And if the growth momentum is maintained, the jobs will certainly follow. But as the economic survey points out, that you need almost 8 million jobs a year, something for the next few years.
Nearly 8 million that they're expecting.
So some focus on job creating sectors, a little more focus, little incentives for those sectors which are more labor intensive. One could see some of that, and especially the MSME sector, which really create a lot of jobs, some incentive for that. And people are also talking about employment-linked incentive, like you have the PLI for the manufacturing sector generally. So it remains to be seen what they do. But I do expect there'll be a lot of talk in the speech. But in terms of substance, ultimately it is the growth which is going to provide jobs.
Mr. Vasudev, now, you know, mostly after every budget, once it is delivered, the one thing that gets, or the most common thing that you hear from every tongue is the tax slabs, if there is a change. We didn't hear anything about it in the interim budget. Do you expect any such thing to be made to the new tax regime this time?
Personally, I would be a little surprised, because
you'd be surprised if there is a change.
Yes, you know, the hallmark of a good fiscal policy is really stability. That is what the investors are looking for. That is what the private sector is looking for. They want stability. But if you keep tinkering with the tax regime every year, it doesn't give a good signal. And we've got a fairly good direct tax thing. Maybe a little bit of tinkering to provide for the inflation impact or something like that may happen. But I don't see a very major change in that.
You're not expecting?
But certainly I would not like to see any changes on the custom duty side, especially if they are sector related. There has to be across the board similar custom duty and all that. Last few years they have tried to tinker with that. I would like to see less of that.